Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking into some really ancient sources. We're trying to unearth the roots of what some call the Great Deception, or sometimes just the game.
Right.
So our mission today is really to unpack the symbolic story of Nimrod and Semiramis. Think of this as a kind of shortcut, to understanding a very old narrative. We want to see how this foundational inversion, basically flipping the truth on its head, might have set up this pervasive system.
And how certain figures, the players in this lore, supposedly took control of that narrative.
Exactly.
And it's useful, I think, to frame this not as literal, straightforward history. It's more like an allegorical tale we're examining. A story about the dismemberment of a unified principle and how another one rose up.
Okay.
And the sources suggest this has, pretty profound implications for how we might look at power and belief systems.
Yeah, how the whole structure of understanding got shaped.
It's about the mechanics behind shaping collective belief.
Okay, so let's dive into the tale itself. It starts with King Nimrod. He's described in this lore as a mighty ruler, even a god-man, sort of an avatar for what they call the unified monarch.
Yeah, think of the monarch as that original whole source of truth or divine power, undivided.
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting. The lore says he was killed, and his body was symbolically dismembered, scattered. And crucially, his reproductive organ called the key was lost.
And that dismemberment is really a direct allegory for what's termed the Great Divide. It's presented as the moment that unified monarch idea fractured.
Fractured into two.
Into two, yes. Alpha, the moon, representing, say, the intuitive, maybe hidden feminine side. And Beta, the sun, the more overt, dominant masculine principle.
Okay.
And this split supposedly kicked off a dormant CH cycle, meaning the original true energy kind of went quiet, became inactive, and losing the key, that symbolizes losing that creative generative power, separating it from the original king.
So the original monarch is broken up, dormant.
Yeah.
What happens next?
Well, the story shifts. After Nimrod's symbolic death, his wife, Queen Semiramis, she steps in.
Ah, Semiramis.
She's said to have seized power. Called the original Queen Bee, the ringmaster, she becomes the main avatar for Beta, the sun, that now dominant solar force.
And this is where the great inversion really takes hold.
This is precisely it, according to these narratives. Semiramis, working with her priests, they're called the first watchers of the OK Club in these texts, sort of a secret priestly group.
Okay.
They spun what's called the lie. She claimed Nimrod hadn't really died, but had ascended to the sun, became Baal, this new sun god.
Wow, okay. That's a big shift.
It's portrayed as a masterstroke, really, commanding worship for the dormant, true lunar monarch, but as a solar deity. It created what the sources call a profane, solar-centric religion, a fundamental shift in understanding and allegiance.
Right, from the original to this distorted version.
Exactly.
And this new religion, it must have come with new symbols, new rituals.
It did. Semiramis, who's also called Ishtar here, she reinforced the story by claiming an immaculate conception by Bel, the sun god, and gave birth to Tammuz.
Tammuz, described as the profane messiah, meaning like a corrupted figure.
In this context, yes, a false or substitute divine figure. And then key dates and symbols from the true cycle were basically, hijacked, recontextualized.
Hijacked. How so?
For example, the big spring festival, maybe originally lunar, it becomes Ishtar's Sunday. Easter, essentially.
Okay.
The 40 days of sorrow for Tammuz, that becomes Lent.
Yeah.
Even the sacred Tau crosses symbol was repurposed, put on cakes, things like that.
It makes you wonder, how easily can these really deep symbols be just flipped, given totally new meanings?
That's a central question this lore raises, absolutely.
Yeah.
How malleable are these foundational narratives and symbols?
So boiling it down, what's the bigger picture here? This whole story describes the birth of Babylon, but not just the city, right? It's presented as a global system.
Yes, a global system of religious and symbolic control is how it's framed. It's about how these players supposedly use the monarch's slumber, that dormant truth,
To create a game.
Exactly, a pervasive system designed to keep people, the pawns, worshiping the fire.
The fire, meaning the artificial light, the sun god.
Instead of the true inner light of that original unified principle. That's the core idea.
Wow, okay. That's quite a narrative we've unpacked.
It really is. This deep dive into Nimrod and Semiramis lore, allegorical as it is, it offers a striking perspective on how narratives, even ancient ones, can be potentially reframed, how they might shift collective understanding, perceptions of power, even truth itself.
So for you, the learner, may be something to think about. How much of what we take as just fundamental truth today might actually have roots in some kind of historical inversion, or maybe a deliberate reinterpretation of much older stories? Keep digging. Definitely keep questioning.